All right, good morning. Before I actually begin with other stuff, I just wanted to direct your attention. We'll do this kind of as we go, but the new study Bibles are out in the chairs today. These were gifted last semester, and I'm really excited to be putting them to work this semester. But I've kind of promised before that as we went, or at some point maybe more at length, I'd give a better introduction to how to use these huge tools, which have a lot more in them than biblical text. And one of the things I wanted to direct your attention to today is if you open up to page 1777, so 1777. Yeah, right. This is at the very beginning of the New Testament. I'll wait till y'all get there. So 1777. Generally there, everybody, sort of. Okay, that's all right. Well, it's as you get there, it's so this is the page Introduction to the Gospels. So this is what these study Bibles are really good for. Like, this is what makes them different than the Pew Bible I usually carry around, which is just biblical text, and that's it. It's full of not just annotations to the text itself, but well-written, state-of-the-art, up-to-date, cutting-edge introductions, and so introductions to testaments, introductions to each book, introductions sometimes to special parts of books of the Bible, excurses on important topics, like say the Tabernacle and Exodus will get like its own little essay. This book, this study Bible, is a compendium of some of the best available biblical scholarship in the world on each topic in this Bible. It's there's really two or three sort of leading study Bibles that have been worked on, and this one's now in its 5th edition. So they've had some time to, figure out how to do this thing right. And at this point, it's getting pretty good. And so I would highly recommend, if you really want, just an introduction to like critical issues, sort of the further research that we allude to so briefly in these classes. I would highly recommend looking for the pertinent part of this Bible that deals with that, and just looking and reading through it and getting a sense of what it says, seeing what kinds of questions are out there. So for example, here we have Introduction to the Gospel starts with like a discussion of the genre of the Gospels. And this is something most of y'all know I talk a lot about, genre and how it informs our reading. But here you can read a little bit more extensively from a leading scholar, like how that's sort of formulated for contemporary conversations. If you turn your page to 1779, the next page over, you see that chart? So that chart sort of exemplifies what I was trying to describe with my hands last time we were in class. This is the source theory for how Matthew and Luke got some of the same material in them. And it's just mapped out there, and it's discussed at length there in this essay called The Sources of the Gospels. This is the kind of thing, like if you want to pursue further, you don't have to go buy a book. This really does encapsulate very well whatever the current voices are on these issues. And usually these reference articles in this Bible won't take a side. Rather, they, as a reference work, they try to present the reader with available current options and just leave it to you to sort of see what you see. And then there's recommended reading in some of these, if not at the head of no, not in this, but in the front of the Bible. There's some articles that have recommended reading for further. But this just gives you like a sort of overview of some of these issues you might want to know more about. And I just wanted you to know it's there. So like this is the introduction to the Gospels, which is 4 books, right? But if you turn to the next page even, you get the Gospel according to Matthew, which we're in right now. That introduction is specifically about this book, right? And it'll sort of teach you some of the stuff that I sometimes spend the first 20 minutes of class talking about. And it'll do it in a more critical way with reference to like more detailed data than we have time to go into in here. So I just wanted you to know that's available, and I wanted to recommend personally that most of the work done in these study Bibles is very good. And in fact, I know a lot of the people who wrote these reference articles, and they're real people. They're good and they're trusted, and they've been tapped to do these articles because they've either already written a dissertation on the topic, or they've written a book on the topic, or whatever, and they've synthesized that down to like 2 pages. So it's probably pretty good if they had to sum it up. Yeah, right. Actually, I really should, because one other thing you should know is if you turn to the back cover of this Bible, so Michael Coogan is the overall editor of it, but if you look below that, Carol Newsom is one of the associate editors of this study Bible, and has been for a while through some previous editions. She's my own doctoral advisor, and but whether she was my advisor or not would not make any difference to her reputation and career, because she's a remarkable and incredible scholar and person, but certainly should be trusted to organize voices for a reference work such as this, which she's also done for the Women's Bible Commentary. I've recommended that to y'all before. She's the editor of that. We can talk more about that later. But anyway, I just wanted y'all to know about some of these resources.